I do know this. We desperately need the 6 courts that we've requested. We actually need more than that, but we know that we're not going to get more than 3 district courts, 2 criminal district courts, and 1 juvenile court. And we're desperately in need of them, and the politics of the thing do not enter into it.
What are the politics of the thing, in your opinion?
Well, I don't know. I do know this. There's a question about when the courtships would be made available, that is, which year. Now, we need the courts now, and it's not really a matter of concern to us about setting it off or whether the governor should make the appointments now. What I'm saying is that the backlog of cases in Dallas require that we have the courts now.
Now, the bill as submitted would create these courts at some later date yet to be chosen. Is that correct?
That's right.
And apparently Preston Smith, the governor, would prefer to have it make them effective immediately so that he might appoint the judges?
Well, that might be his reason. Of course, I haven't talked to the governor about it, and I do not know his reasons, but I do know what our needs are, which is our primary concern.
Do you think the matter can be resolved in view of these difficulties? Do you think there's time to alter the bill so that it's acceptable to them?
I certainly do hope so.
I feel like I'm standing alone, and I feel like that I'm, at this time, like I'm climbing the highest mountain in this country. And it's kind of hard to take on the establishment and all the judges in the county and the crime commission and stand up for what you think is right, knowing that, or thinking that maybe there may be some reprisals. I don't know.
Do you fear reprisals?
I don't fear anything.
What do you mean by reprisals?
Oh, if what I think is going on, that I think that there could be any kind of a charge rigged against me.
Against you?
Right.
Such as? Anything come to mind? How do they arrive?
I don't know. I can't outthink them.
What type rigged charge would come to mind, though? That they?
Well, I don't really know. I just have this feeling. But I think that people, it is high time that people in elective office speak up. Don't let things go by them without saying something about it, some of the things that they don't like. There's many things at the courthouse that I don't like.
Such as?
One is about the judges.
We've mentioned that, and you've gone into that a great deal. What else is
well,
there?
Other issues in the past, it seems like that the 4.5 years I've been down here, I'm the only one that criticizes the county government, and I think it's been constructive criticism. Am I the only one that sees the wrong?
Commissioner Tyson, are you saying, sir, in your statements that the so-called, quote, establishment of Dallas has a stranglehold on the Dallas County Courthouse, the elected officials there, the majority of them?
I do. I think so.
Do you feel that
I think they have a lot of influence. I think they pay filing fees and contribute to campaigns, and I think these people have to look to the people that pay their filing fees.
Would you exclude anybody in the courthouse from that statement? Do you feel that there are
I'll exclude myself.
Last night in a report that we did on Channel 8, I reported that someone close to the Crime Commission had said that part of the reason that you had applied so much interest to this story was the fact that you had aspirations of becoming judge of Dallas County. How do you feel about such a statement?
Well, they're not well informed, I can tell you that about my thinking. I have no aspirations for county judge.
The Democratic Party is a broad-based party that does not try to dictate who shall be a candidate for public office as the other party does. Therefore, it's understandable and even healthy that we have disagreements and diverse ideas in the Democratic Party. But from these different views, we're able to furnish the very best of public officials. This, we believe, is the democratic way. Although the other party attempts to run its affairs from the top down, dictating who may run for office, it's interesting to note that this system caused them some disagreements in a recent Dallas meeting, as we knew it eventually would. Therefore, they wound up with disagreements and dissension without the benefit which the Democratic Party reaps from open and democratic discussions such as we have in our meetings. As county chairman, I propose to have an open door policy with the view of receiving ideas, counsel, and advice from all Democrats. From this, I expect to be able to do a better job as county chairman. We realize, of course, that I'll not be able to adopt all of the ideas nor all of the advice, but we will expect to use the best of each of them.
The Fort Worth School Board met in special session today to hear a report on Project 1980, the third in a series of projected reports showing what is going to be needed in the future for the Fort Worth public school system. It all began with a report when Julius Trulson was an assistant superintendent in the school system, and from the indications today, it is a very worthwhile project. James Bailey, Assistant Superintendent for Instruction, and Gerald Ward, Director of Secondary Education, summarized very briefly the 50-odd pages of projections for the year 1980 in the Fort Worth public school system. What they said, in essence, was schools are going to have to concentrate a great deal more on learning and a great deal less on teaching. That has been one of Trulson's favorite phrases over the past several years. Mr. Ward issued this announcement on what Project 1980 is all about.
Those 33 aims of Project 1979 have been completed or begun, including an early childhood program that is one of the best in the nation. Mr. Bailey touched on that in the Central Cities program, and a data processing system that, although has some problems, is one of the best in the state.
And so it looks as if the Fort Worth public schools are probably among the most progressive anywhere in the United States. That's not just the feeling of the people here in Fort Worth, but we're very proud of the school system here. Jerry Taft, Channel 8 News, Fort Worth.
A year ago, when TLCB Administrator O.N. Humphreys announced new rules for private clubs, owners immediately objected. The Attic Club in Dallas filed for an injunction against those rules, claiming that TLCB rulings on guest memberships and cash sales were in part, if not totally, unconstitutional and in violation of state laws. Since that time, Texas clubs have remained open under a court injunction against the board's regulations. And when Humphreys announced revised rules Monday, the Dallas Club wasted no time in telling its attorneys to include the new regulations in the existing suit. Attic Club manager Robert McNabb says the TLCB's new regulations are essentially the same as the rules issued last year and are still unconstitutional and illegal.
So no cash provision. They have made legal tender not responsible for being able to pay your debts with it, which is unconstitutional in itself.
How about the guest card ruling then?
The guest card ruling, it would eliminate, they've exceeded their authority by law in passing that amendment to begin with.
Well, if these rulings ever do go into effect, what's going to be the effect on Texas private clubs?
I say it would close by 90% of them because members, most prior to our members, joined because they are able to send in guests, call up on the phone, or give them a guest card and allow them to come in the club, use facilities, and pay cash.
And under the new rulings, they would not be able to do
Under the new rulings, they'd be forced to charge it to the member's account, which would be 90% of our charges, and would put the member out of business.
Attorney Tom Thomas, representing the Attic Club, says he will file for a ruling on the new suit at latest next week. Then the suit will either come up for a hearing on injunction or a ruling on the original suit before September 1st. That's the date Humphreys set for the new rulings to become effective. Either way, it's doubtful that private club operations will be affected, at least until the end of the summer. But if the rulings do go into effect at the end of the summer, no more money. Phil Reynolds, Channel 8 News.
Mrs. Knapp, we have your letter here complaining of the condition of the railroad crossing on Pearl Expressway. Our note here informs us that the Southern Pacific Railroad was contacted on this on March the 12th, 1969. They've ordered the materials on May 6th and advised that they are now waiting on the availability of a crew to make the repairs. Railroad has a number of problems, time-consuming problems in making these repairs, but these crossings are their responsibility.